Welcome to the Nutrition Collaborative podcast, where we cut through the noise, bust the myths, and bring you nothing but truth about health, fitness, and everything in between. I'm Alec Moore, dietitian, and each week we'll dive into what really works when it comes to achieving lasting health and fitness. No gimmicks, no BS, just real talk, real success stories, and a holistic approach to living your healthiest life. Whether you're here for practical tips, inspiration from real client journeys, or just to find out what's actually worth your time, this is the podcast for you. Let's break it down, get empowered, and focus on what truly matters for your health. Today, the conversation is an extremely important one on your specific health and fitness journey. And it is, today we're going to be talking about relationships with food and relationships with exercise, relationships with yourself in your own fitness journeys. This is really, if you want to have a long-term healthy balance with health and fitness and wellness, etc., it's gonna start with your relationship with food. What is a relationship with food? Well, it's how you view food, how you view certain types of foods, how you view food on a spectrum, how you view activity on a spectrum, and how you view really your perception of all of the balance of all of the different categories within your health and fitness. And that could be your daily steps. It could be your hydration levels. It could be your food intake. It could be exercise, you name it. What is your relationship with all of those things? How do you view their importance in your life? Because in order for you to have that long-term healthy mindset around food, exercise, and your own fitness, and to not treat fitness as a punishment or steps and cardio as a punishment for eating a certain way. That's where we're going to go with today's conversation on relationship with food. This is not going to be a very, very in-depth conversation about eating disorders or disordered eating. That is going to be probably a topic for another day, where we delve into a little bit more specifically into those more extremes. But today is going to be the more generalized relationship with food in general, not necessarily just talking about the mental health, disorders and conditions associated with relationship with food. So we're not going to go into this extremes. I may introduce a little bit about them at the end, but we're not going to go too deep into those. So today, I really want to talk about the fact that a healthy relationship with food is dependent upon adequate nutritional knowledge. The more you know within the realm of your own nutritional needs for your own specific goals, demands, etc., and requirements, the more you know those things and those specifics, and the more confidence you can build in those things, the more you're going to be enabled to have a healthy relationship with food. So if you are very unfamiliar or uneducated, or you just know absolutely nothing about nutrition, that is where a healthy relationship with food can decline due to that lack of knowledge. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything when it comes to feeling empowered on your own journey and taking action on something or execution on something because you know it's going to benefit your health, it's going to benefit your habits, it's going to benefit your relationships, your surroundings, etc. Having a fundamental basic knowledge of nutrition is what's going to enable that first step toward a healthier relationship with food. Because if you have that knowledge, you will have an understanding that all food is on a spectrum, lower calorie and energy to higher, lower nourishment to higher, and activity is good for you until a certain point, and that there's a balance with all of this. So some examples I think we should talk about on maybe a strained relationship. I'm not going to say a poor relationship with food, because I'm not trying to put people into certain domains within this conversation. It's just to open the conversation, really. So common signs of a strained relationship with food: feeling guilty after eating a certain food or food item, having certain food rules or fear foods that you live and die by. All or nothing patterns, right? So like, oh, I'm on track, or I'm off track, or oh, I'm having this one cookie, so now I'm completely off track of my quote unquote plan. Or viewing, exercise as punishment. Those are like the top 4 that I come into contact with, or that come up within my coaching that I see a lot of in the public, is those 4 signs. It's very, very common. Obviously, there's different levels of severity and significance for each individual experiencing those same 4. Some people, it might just be really light. Some people, it's very intense, and how the mind responds to that, to those things. So that's something that could be a potential sign of a strained relationship with food. What, again, back to the knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the better when it comes to your relationship with food. It's just going to empower you to make the proper decisions, not decisions where you've been, or based off of information that you've been misled with, right? Because if we are being misled, misinformed, and the information is inaccurate or obsessive, or leading you to follow something where you think that this is black and white. If I follow this, then I'm on plan, and I'm worthy. I'm capable. I'm following the plan. That means I'm a good person. I'm a good client, etc. That means nothing, right? So we have to know why we're eating a certain food, not because we've been misled. We know for a fact, we are educated now. We have that nutritional knowledge and power to say, okay, I went for a long hike today. The more appropriate food for me right now, it's not about whether it's healthy or not. What would nourish my body what would replenish and nourish my body the best right now? Would it be the cookie, or would it be the broccoli after a hike? Well, if you're thinking, you got to stay on plan. You got to follow the plan, and you got to be 100% all in, and you got to, be quote unquote perfect with this and with that. And that's the healthy choice. And I'm following this plan right now. So I have to follow, I have the healthy choice. No, the healthier choice would be to not have a fibrous, low calorie, bulky veggie after a long hike. It would be the cookie, because you are educated enough to understand that has more utility and is the proper nourishment selection. If it's between those two, for this example, that's the proper choice. But if you were super, super hungry and you hadn't moved a lot all day that day, then the nutritional knowledge, or having the nutritional knowledge of, it's not been a highly active day today. I'm going to be more intuitive with my body. Yes, I still need calories, but I'm really hungry and I haven't moved a lot. Maybe it's something a little bit more, or maybe something a little bit lower calorie, more voluminous and filling is the more appropriate choice right now. See how I'm saying appropriate versus maybe less appropriate versus, that's not healthy, or that's not on track, or that's not on my plan. I'm speaking very vaguely with a lot of these things, but I hope that you're able to take some of this as almost like an analogy of sorts for a lot of different foods, and like on that spectrum of foods. So you shouldn't feel guilty after eating a cookie ever, but especially when we know for a fact that we had a crazy active day and we need the calories. Who cares if they come from a cookie? All right. Again, very general, very broad, very vague, but this is where we're taking the conversation. Now, what about for exercise, right? Healthy relationship with exercise. Well, we should view it as a way to support our bodies, to support longevity, to support health, abundance, good skin, right? Better moods, better relationships, stronger bones, stronger muscles, et cetera, strength, et cetera. Not because we hate the way we look, or because I want to look like this person, or because, my friend XYZ followed XYZ diet and got XYZ results, so I need to as well. But that's going to, actually end up burying me, right? So, but where does all that start with? Starts with the knowledge. The knowledge with your food, with your exercise, knowing how to have it in a balanced, knowing how to be in control, but not so in control to where it's a deep obsession every single day. Knowing that when you feel extremely exhausted from a crazy week, maybe you're traveling a lot for work and you didn't get a lot of calories in all week because of that. And then, you're supposed to, hit 3 days of training in a row when you get back, and all this cardio and hiking. maybe we need to take an extra rest day before we jump into training again. Maybe we need to listen to our bodies. That's a healthy relationship with exercise. Not just because, my leg day is planned for Saturday, I have to do it no matter what. No, being in tune with your body and understanding that it was a crazy week, you're underfed, under-recovered, nervous system is taxed, and you're exhausted. You're able, with that education, you're able to understand, okay, I need to take a rest day today so that I can have a better workout tomorrow. And again, longevity, long haul, big picture, healthy relationship balanced with food and exercise. That's what we're trying to preach here. Because how miserable do those people look who can't ever just like eat something tasty or enjoyable because it's not quote unquote to their plan time and time again, right? Now, I'm not saying that a healthy relationship with food is eating 10 cinnamon rolls for breakfast 7 days a week. That's, again, it's about balance, but being okay in these different instances, circumstances, situations that come up to support the healthiest decision mentally, physically, and emotionally for yourself in that moment and for the long term. So I think a lot of it truly is tuning out these voices that are in your head from all these years of misinformation, lack of proper education, and previously failed experiences with other either coaches or just by yourself, etc. I think overcoming that and gaining the proper knowledge is where you start on the journey toward a healthier relationship with food and exercise. And I think that it's the game changer when it happens, like when that clicks for people, because they actually end up eating more food. They get more nourished because they're not from being misled. They're not chronically under consuming, thinking that they have to eat so little, diet all the time, or quote unquote diet all the time, and always be chasing weight loss. They realize, I can actually, if I don't have these big swings in appetite and hunger and body weights and recovery scores and things like that, if I have somewhere in the middle, I can actually do this for a very long time and see consistent results and feel great too. I don't have to push my body to extremes. I don't have to push my nutrition to ridiculous extremes chronically. So I think it's extremely powerful. So in addition to gaining that education and knowing what is right for you, your body, your needs, your goals, your daily requirements, etc. Beyond that, I think it's building awareness around certain things such as hunger cues, stressors, emotions when it comes to food and exercise. Do you rely on food to combat a stress or to cope with stress? Do you rely on exercise to combat a stress? What in your habits and nutrition and exercise helps you ease the stress versus add more stress on? Being able to kind of navigate those and keep a fluid schedule going with your habits, a fluid schedule going with your like a transient schedule going, where it's not so fixed that you live and die by it. And if you miss X or Y or Z on any certain day of the week, you're not a failure for the week. You're just learning and adapting, and you'll get to it the next day, or becoming more in tune with those stressors day to day, those emotions day to day. On top of all the basic nutritional knowledge, that's what's going to empower you to be so in tune with your body, your hunger, your digestive health, your stressors, how all these different things impact you, because they're going to impact you differently than the other person, every other person down the street in your neighborhood. It's going to look different for every single person, and balance looks different for every single person too. To go off onto that, I think it's important to after learning and after becoming more and more in tune with your body, then knowing how to consistently in a maintenance period, basically for life, how to implement all of these things and practice more flexibility in the long term, whether you're at home or on the go for travel or on a vacation or at a holiday event or at a work party. X, Y, Z. I think relearning a lot of these things and unlearning these rigid rules for yourself after learning the proper education for your needs nutritionally and physically, I think that is going to literally be a game changer for you and heal your relationship with food over time, because it's really hard to feel confident in your day-to-day routine not knowing something. It's just like finances. Say you randomly got, someone gave you a $10,000 bonus for your first time ever, and you didn't know how to use it, what to do with it, or where to spend it. So instead of getting educated on where should I put some extra cash when the market or the stock market is here and the interest rates on homes are here and I've got debt in this area. Okay. Learning instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to buy a $10,000 XYZ. Instead of that, what if you took the time to get educated on, okay, I'll put 1,000 here and 1,000 there. I'll store 4,000 over back in this thing. Okay. That, you're going to allocate because you're well versed in that area. You don't have to be a genius in that area, but at least simply, well versed at the bare minimum. So you know where to put that money and how to make the most of it. Same thing with nutrition and exercise. If you were uneducated, you would maybe spend all of the, $10K on one thing, or you wouldn't know how to distribute out your cardio sessions throughout the week and how to be okay with less versus more. This episode has been very vague, very general, very broad, but I'm trying to paint a picture of how we can very generally improve our relationship with food and why we should and how to start, basically the first 3 steps. So just to recap here, I think it's really important to feel free and empowered on your journey. And the only way I think to feel empowered and capable and in control of your fitness, your health, your journey, etc. In order to feel free and strong and capable and empowered, etc., it's not going to be found in and I've said this a million times, like trends and fads and what all these other people are doing. It's truly, to me, about gaining as much knowledge for your specific needs as possible, implementing them with support, and tuning out those voices or the devil on your shoulder when it creeps up on, oh, you shouldn't have this, or you shouldn't have that, or oh, you didn't get enough steps in today. We have to kind of unlearn those fears and those obstacles, I think, overcome those, and then you'll start and really also develop your nutritional structure and things like that, so we can regulate your hunger or regulate your appetite and get you in a homeostatic sort of structure with your health, nutrition, and fitness routines, that you don't have to always be talking, negatively to yourself for food and exercise and things, so that you can have this healthy relationship with food and exercise and not feel held hostage by it, and feel more in control and abundant and healthy, vibrant, nourished, etc., versus overly restrictive, feeling guilty after everything you eat, if it's quote unquote off your plan, versus, walking off your Thanksgiving dinner because you have to get X amount of steps in order to burn off XYZ. We just can't look at it that way. We should not look at it that way. We should look at all food as on a spectrum. It just feeds us differently in different aspects of energy density versus nutritional density. And like, you can be in full control of those exact things. Every single one of my clients who's really, talked about or celebrated huge relationship with food wins, they are the ones that are the happiest, the most flexible, but the most routined, and knowing that what they're doing is supporting their bodies, not tearing it down, supporting their minds, not tearing it down. And they're able, because they're well educated and understanding of the nutritional fundamentals and principles, to sustain a healthy body weight and not have big upswings or drops, to have healthy blood glucose levels, so that their hunger and mood and appetite and things, energy levels, are all, consistent each day, and stable. They're empowered because they have that knowledge and that education. So I think for today, that's going to sum it up. But I kind of do want to dive deeper in a future episode on some, how to spot disordered eating, how to spot eating disorders, and, signs to watch for in yourself and others and friends and family members, how to get the right help if it is that extreme and stuff like that. I do want to talk about that at a later date, but not within this one here. So thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful week after the holiday weekend. And I also just hope that you're all able to take a little bit from this episode. And it was very general, very vague, but hopefully you're able to take a lot from this episode when it comes to how to find the healthiest relationship with food and exercise for you on your journey, so that you feel empowered and abundant, and you feel like you're in a thriving state versus restrictive, obsessive, and miserable on your path. Thanks so much.